Good evening, friends. Good morning, wherever it is you are. This is Dom's Sketchcast. Got to send a shout out to our sponsor. Our sponsor, Patreon.com/valet. Patreon, that's our sponsor. You are our sponsor. We rely on you, person. That's right, it's you. You're driving around, you're flying off a cliff, you're eating a bag of Doritos. Yes, sir, or madam, or person of non-binary gender. We rely on you to help us make this podcast happen at Downhill Media Studios. We also rely on you to help us on Patreon to create the weird animations you see on DSC. We're using the money from Patreon to fund our equipment and just making weird shit. Making weird shit and stories is my goal, and I believe everyone who's affiliated with DSC are pointed at that same problem. If you sign up on patreon.com/valet, you get a bunch of cool shit. You get to see behind the scenes stuff. There are a lot of personal audio vlogs where I'm not being super entertaining. I'm just rambling about what goes on in my head, what's in this notebook in front of me, like how I organize my thoughts. We're gonna have behind the scenes imagery, videos, animations are a work in progress. We also have pins we're sending out. You can sign up on patreon.com/valet today. If you get on the valet tier, you'll get a free fucking sketch. You'll get a sketch from me, drawn, sent to your fucking mailbox, anywhere in the fucking galaxy. What we're going to do now is a 1-minute meditation, which means whatever it is you're doing, you can be walking, you can still be in motion, but just going to encourage you to be silent, look around the world, observe your environment, just sink in it for a little bit. Starting now. What is it out where you are?
17 degrees.
Jeez. It's satanic. It's satanic.
Yeah.
You ever wonder, like, why our ancestors came here? Or, like, why? I mean, okay, like, my ancestors didn't have a choice necessarily, but they did emigrate to the U.S. I'll give them that. That was their choice. But, like, you ever wonder, like, why your ancestors came here?
Well, the people who live here, the Native Americans, they would move around sometimes, so
yeah.
They could kind of pick up and move a little bit easier than we could. We kind of relegate ourselves to one place.
That is, yeah. I mean, what is that? Is that like the Western structure of like property ownership or something?
Absolutely it is. Absolutely. And it's, job security and property ownership means that you are locked into a contract, essentially, for your livelihood to remain in a square radius with limited breaks where you're allowed to leave the perimeter.
Limited breaks, which we call, I think, vacations. Is that what I think
that's what they call them, I think.
I got my vacation. I get to take 7 days off, and then I get to be right back to the fucking hamster wheel.
Sometimes that's how it feels, but hey, vacations are nice.
Yeah, but I am one of these people where I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable doing nothing. Like, I don't like beaches. I don't like not having something to do. Having something to do, it makes me happy,
I understand.
I just want to make something. Do you like doing nothing?
Do you want to know? I could talk a little bit about this. I think that the busy mind, the mind that is, I'll call it, and I don't mean any offense by this, but the mind that is kind of addicted to accomplishments.
Yeah.
is very like linear, forward thinking, and project oriented. I know this because that is also me. But I try to it's actually restricting when you think about it, because it's like, well, shit, I'm only feeling good when I'm making progress on a thing, and that means that I constantly have to have things on my plate, and it's actually liberating to know that you are not your accomplishments. You can simply be yourself. You're a human being, not a human doing. Part of the game is learning how to relax and not be caught up in that style thinking sometimes.
Sal, this was not how I was expecting to start this combo, but I'm glad we're here. I'm glad I'm confronting my workaholism, and I feel like I'm a mild workaholic. I don't even think I'm
right. No, I mean, I'm a mild Workaholics Anonymous here, the two of us.
It's like in the what do they say in the workaholics meeting? What is that? What does that one look like?
Oh, it starts by, it's like, well, what type of relaxing fun have you had in the last week?
It's like, I had fun.
And then we sit around in a circle and we trade stories about each types of relaxing fun that each other has had.
And I guess like hitting rock bottom would be like, I went into a spin. You got like a coffee cup and a cigarette out of my mouth, and it's like, I had a fucking relapse, went and did 5 pieces of work. Everyone's like, oh shit, you went and did it. I worked on the damn cabinet for 5 days, built that shit.
I couldn't help it, man. I remodeled the entire kitchen.
I tweaked out. Yeah, so I guess the mantra would be like those guys would definitely be into meditation. The workaholics meeting would meditation and sort of being present, I think, would be the thing. Existing in the present.
Absolutely.
But damn, I'm gonna ask this question because I was gonna have you intro yourself. We will do that in a second, but okay. I want to grab this thought and strangle it while I have it right now.
Let's do it.
Working on something. Is it a future thought or a present thought? Like let's take a very simple example. Let's go generations back to our ancestors, right? They got a damn stick. They need to sharpen it into a spear to go hunt a damn antelope or something, right?
Right.
That's work. Choosing the wood, carving it into the right parameters, testing the heft of it, right? The weight, and just doing those practice jabs. That's all work, right?
Yes, it is. So
what is the present version of existing in that moment and working, and what is the future version? Like, what is it? I know it's some mixture of both, but like when you're sitting there choosing the grain and like touching the spear, are you present? Would you call that being present, or like thinking about the future?
Yeah. Well, you can be present. You can be present through gratitude. Like while you're searching for a grain, you can be grateful that you have found grain. When you're searching for wood, you can be grateful that you are around wood. And when you mess up your first stick, you can be grateful that you have another stick to try it on. You know what I mean? It's about framing, and that's a psychological term that I encourage you to investigate. But framing and reframing, a lot of the way that people speak and how people work and how people orient their lives, it can just tell you a lot about who they are as a person. And so if you're able to take the minutia of work, which is more or less what people call your lot, the circumstances of your birth, etc. Yeah. And if you're able to find beauty in that and gratitude, then life is pretty good. And from that position, from that mindset, you'll be essentially happy. And then you'll be able to envision more happy outcomes in your life and focus on those, versus a frame of reference where you are like, oh, fuck, I have to get grain. Fuck, I got to find a stick. Fuck, I got to sharpen this stick. Fuck, I got to go eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, my God. Imagine the hunter complaining like a millennial. I mean, like, I could get these. I could get the spear box donated. Like, delivered to my house from
I
Amazon.
could get a monthly subscription to a spear box with 3 different types of spears every month, and I could, yeah.
Are you tired of chopping down your own spears and going through the craft of it?
That's eventually what happened, right? Somebody
thought
right. It's a brilliant idea to market non-work at a fee.
Marketing not working. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, well, it's convenience. They've marketed convenience, and that's what a lot of our services revolve around is convenience. You know?
Jesus Christ. Okay, you're just giving me so much, Sal. But please introduce yourself for the people. We got to do the intro segment. We're gonna get into the meat of this, ladies and gentlemen. The people out there in the crowd are just Sal. They're like pushing on the doors of the Coliseum of DSC headquarters. I'm just trying to hang on. Whoa! Oh my God! Just the wisdom coming off of you. It's too intense, man. But man. Please introduce yourself first.
Okay, cool. I just had to send off a bio to somebody, so I've got a good description. Right. Hello, I am Sal. I am part of the Ruby Yacht custodial services and groundskeeper. I am a keeper of the great big scroll and stoker of the furnace. And I'm here today with Mr. Dom Rabrin.
Yes.
And I'm happy to be here.
All right, now here. Let's focus on that word here. Thing is, you and I are not occupying physical space, correct, Sal?
Correct. I'm in my Jeep Grand Cherokee outside of my apartment because it is drastically easier to heat a small enclosed space.
Wow.
Versus my house.
All right, this is the first interview I've done with someone who was in a Jeep, but let me or any vehicle. But let me propose this to you. I would like to make a digital space for you, a home that I'll take care of whenever you're not there, but we'll just make it now.
Okay.
So it's got 4 white walls, got a ceiling and a floor, right?
All right.
Whether there's windows, ladders, trapdoor, whatever, the colors of the room, it's all up to you, and it can change at any time. What's in your room, Sal?
Okay, cool. Well, now that you said ladders and trapdoors, there's definitely at least one ladder and one trapdoor.
Okay, I didn't mean to lead your answer. You can, I mean,
no. I like that.
One ladder, one trapdoor.
Right, and the ladder would be, it would be one of those sliding bookshelf ladders because one wall would be a bookshelf with a sliding ladder.
Okay.
The other wall will be yellow. The other wall will be white still, and the other wall will be actually no, that wall that I said would be white will be blue, and then the other wall will be green. So
okay,
yellow, blue, and green. There will be, it's hardwood flooring, but there's a large oval rug, a maroon oval rug that kind of, it almost, it like touches the edge of the rooms, but like, you know, it doesn't reach everything.
Yeah.
There's definitely some plant life. Is this my bedroom, or is this just the room that we're hanging out in?
It's up to you. It's your room. You could sleep in it. I mean, I imagine you take naps in there while you're reading books and stuff, so it's up to you.
Right. Okay, so maybe not a bed, but maybe one of those cool, like, chaise lounge where it's like a couch, but they're kind of like a low couch, and they're like long, and maybe it wraps around the corner of one side, and you can it could seat like 4 to 6 people or function as a bed or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good place to start.
I agree, Sal. It's beautiful. Let's rewind back a little bit. While we're in your cozy library, right? It's nice in here. There's books and all that shit. Books and all that shit. You said, convenience, marketing convenience.
Marketing convenience.
It's so selling the idea of like you don't have to work, right?
Well, right, or it's marketed in maybe even a more subversive and malicious sense, wherein it's like, maybe not malicious, but it's like we're better at you we're better than you at this. Why don't you just buy it from us?
Yeah.
And it's like, the idea of better is just, it can be really painful in a lot of ways, because it makes people not want to do things for themselves, because they are like, well, I'm not as good as, I like these brands and they make stuff and it's good, and well, if I did it, it wouldn't be as good as that.
Yeah.
And so it robs you of the motivation to create for fear of it not being good or better, when it's actually like, well, you should just try it, and for one, it'll have emotional significance, which is powerful and of value because you have made it. Two, you'll have learned something in the process, and three, well, I don't know, 1 and 2 is good enough, but like, I don't know what 3 is. But yeah, it's more important to acquire understanding of things than it is to acquire the thing itself.
I'll be honest with you, Sal. I was preparing a rebuttal. I was preparing a strong-ass fucking rebuttal, just because I like being contrary sometimes. I think it helps dig into a point even more. But the way you explained it, I don't have any rebuttal for that. That is just so... And I'm not even debate guy. I just think that idea is so amazing. I just want to turn it over like every way I can and just get all the way around that. Get all up in that idea, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah. And you just have to make the decisions in everyday life where it's like, well, right, I don't own a farm, so I'm going to go to the grocery store.
Yeah, of course.
And it's like, well, I can get couture pants, or I can go to Goodwill, or, and sometimes the decisions are like that. But then you realize that the couture pants that you want that are $300, that using some of the materials that you found at Goodwill for $2, you could refashion into something that looks like what you wanted to buy with, not more than a day's worth of work, or, whatever.
I'll give you number 3. Here's point number 3 I think you were going to make. Here's another one. Controlling your own... trying to control your work and the things that are around you that are made and are yours. I think there's sort of like I think it does a serendipitous thing to your life. You did mention the emotional component, which I think is way understated. I mean, I cannot state enough how powerful that is, but also it's like, here's an example. You mentioned going to the Goodwill, right, to make your own clothing. You know,
sure.
how I don't know if I'm using this word correctly. I think it's diametrically opposed. I don't even know if I should have used that word. Whatever. Fuck it. I used the word. All right. Sue me, everybody. So
I think it just means like total, absolute opposite.
Yes. Okay. Yes. It's the absolute opposite of you ordering Gucci pants. Because what happens when you buy Gucci pants, you're buying this brand, this thing that's already been cooked. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you get Gucci and the thing says Gucci on it, it's a very specific idea of a thing they're trying to get you to buy into. And you've not left your house, which is the main point I'm trying to make. Now, you go to the thrift store, it's going to take you however long to get there, 30 minutes, maybe you drive or whatever. And maybe that day you're just like fucking just enjoying being out in the sun, and it makes you're being active. Your whole life is centered around making something for yourself, and you could potentially meet someone at the thrift store. You could potentially find a book there that you never thought you'd read that changes your life a little bit.
Yeah.
So many things can happen by engaging with your reality more. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. And like when you go to buy the Gucci pants, like you said, there
Gucci.com.
You're buying it for a reason, right? The thing represents something to you, and if you think about it long enough, you can pull words from that feeling. So it's like, okay, I'm looking at these Gucci pants. They make me feel strong. Maybe they make me feel attractive. They make me feel valuable. And it's like, okay, so if the strong, attractive, valuable,
right?
So that's what I realized. So thank you, Gucci, for making me realize that I want to feel strong, attractive, and valuable. I don't need your pants anymore, but I'm going to take those ideas and imbue that into something else that I've made. You know what I mean? I'm going to make a pair of
Yeah.
pants that, for me, are strong, attractive, and valuable. So just extract the idea that you got, the buzz that you got off the thing, and then transmute it into something for yourself.
But Sal, what do I do with these $15,000 Gucci sandals that I just bought in the last 10 seconds? I can't return them.
Sell them for $30,000 and say that they were used by Kanye West.
Okay. I can't prove it, but he wore them. And someone's like, listen, give me them sandals.
Yeah, you sell it with like a toenail clipping, and you're like, bro, this is Kanye's toenail.
What? I can clone him. Maybe it might get that bad at some point. I read something on your Twitter account, Sal. I want to get.
Yeah, okay.
It was about male ejaculations.
I just have been researching this recently.
Are you down in the fucking lab? Like, I gotta know about these cums. Damn it.
No, seriously. It's like I think I was watching a Tai Chi, somebody instructing Tai Chi, or they had talked about just the energy loss that can occur with male ejaculation, and I was like, well, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like, everybody says like the story is like, homeboy busts off a nut and then falls asleep or whatever.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? And then rolls over and falls asleep. Like, that's the worst case scenario. And it's like, why does that happen? And it's it's like, it's training, it's sexual stamina, and it's also that apparently when you bust that nut, your body is going to spend up to a third of its energy regenerating those thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of sperm cells. Like, a single ejaculate could impregnate like an entire world. You know what I mean?
I did that. I did that once. But okay.
Right. It's very condensed. Like, it's very powerful, and so it's all. The idea is that orgasm is separate from ejaculation, and orgasm occurs.
I have trouble with that.
Slightly, what? Yeah, right.
What the hell is an orgasm, dude? I thought I knew.
Well, so did I. I mean, so did I. I thought it was the thing, but apparently it's not. Apparently it's it happens a second before you bust the nutticus, and that it's just it's so commonly thought of, like, it's so commonly thought of as orgasm, but they're apparently they're distinct. Like, I was just reading about this shit this morning, and I was like, shit, I gotta figure that one out.
But you know what I mean, my first instinct is to laugh, and then the part of me is stopping. I'm thinking to myself, like, this is another one of the crazy ways that the proliferation of porn has, like, really just sank into our minds and just, like, eaten a deep hole into, like, this really important social aspect of our lives. Because you figure, whenever you think about male orgasm, it is bust a nut. That's what we said. We bust a nut. Everything is like,
right.
It's this aggressive, like, we're imagining the guy, right? And it's been characterized in such a way, in the same way that, like, I'm gonna try to make this weird analogy, like, imagine punching someone. When you imagine punching someone, it's all cinema. It's cinema and cartoons. It's like, it's that sound of punching you. It's like,
yeah,
it's that really corny sound.
And their face
right hook
is dented, and it's fucking dramatic. And
right,
it's like all
right. And a punch in real life, fights in real life are very quick, very unceremonious. It's like,
and hilarious.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess the point I'm trying to make is that I can see. I think there's a lot that I don't know as well, and maybe I should be more open to knowing these things, because, like, the systems that we have been taught or shown, not even taught, no one's taught anything. Like, sex ed is not sex ed in the traditional way we understand it. We're so fucking behind. Get it? Fucking behind. No, we're really behind on, like, actual education on these things, and we're just now starting to have, like, real good public conversations about consent and all that stuff. But, like,
yeah,
there's so much. We have such a long way to go in terms of, like, I mean, people go
It's
to
not
fucking.
even. It's not education. It's not. It's the wrong word. It's like it's preventative scare tactics. Really, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
There's no education of safe sex. Really, it's just like, please avoid Please avoid this. Like,
Yeah, don't do that thing that your body really, really wants to do, and you're like your biological imperative is forcing you to do, like almost against your will.
right,
Absurd. Are you into Shadowrun?
dude. I bought the rule, like the big book for it, and
Okay.
all of my friends and I were like looking at, because it's slightly different than D&D, but like similar. And we were reading up on the mythos, and we're trying to pick our characters, and I think we found somebody who might want to DM for us. But that's just where it's at right now. So like we haven't started playing yet, but it's really a cool world, it seems like,
Yeah.
and we just kind of got to pick a day of the week and like I'm in the social organizing phase of getting my Shadowrun on.
That's great, man. It's a really fun game, and I first got turned on to it on SNES. Actually, I had an emulator when I was in high school and bought I didn't buy it. Buying. I downloaded the Shadowrun SNES ROM, and the music on there is really, really good. If you're looking for something to sample to, because I know you do that, and we're gonna get to your music in a moment. But
That's a good idea.
it's a very bizarre world, like you said, and I think the existence of the internet in that world is something that is, I've never seen any other game really attempt to describe the internet in such a mystical sort of way, or in any way. Like, I mean, Grand Theft Auto or something, you can go on the internet, but in Shadowrun, if you're a decker, they call them. If you're a decker,
Right.
you plug into that shit, and then you have an avatar of yourself that gets sent into the internet, and you're fighting. Like, corporations employ other deckers to go in there and like make magical systems within the internet, which you physically can go to. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's just like how shit. I'm trying to think of the words. What goes on in your mind, is real. So it's like if you can dismantle an issue in your mind, like that will carry over into your daily life or whatever. And such with the internet is like, if there's if you develop an issue online, it's going to follow you into real life. Or like if I don't know. It's real to a certain degree, we just have to imagine.
I think it's very real, and I think humanity, if you can consider it one body, it's like we just burst through the doors of this new realm where the floor is really slippery, and then like one step it just like there's lava on it, and the other step it freezes you for like 10 generations, and it's just the internet is like we I don't think we really, I think we're trying to get a grasp of it, even as you and I are talking right now. And the people listening, I would imagine they've thought about the internet too, and sometimes they're like, wait, what the hell are we really doing here again?
Well, right, and that's a good question. When the internet started, it was a lot of it was hard to get on. You know what I mean? When it first started, it was hard to get on.
You're right.
So it was a lot of people who were very devoted to the internet and to the communities, because it wasn't easy, and like there wasn't that many people, and it was close knit. So it was like the sharing of knowledge like across the world, and then that was actually meaningful. And like in forums, forums were huge, just like message boards where things were discussed and issues were resolved or issues were brought up, blah blah blah. Like it was more real, and then people just started to take it for granted, and then it got caught up, or it's continued to get caught up in the trivialities of normal life, you know what I mean? Like, just as things go, so it is here, so it is there. There's a lot of similar, continuity across it.
You don't see the word, I'm going to use that word again you used earlier, which is gratitude, and it's a beautiful, beautiful word, and the more I've practiced it in my life, it's always enriched me. It's never been something that has not been good for me. But you don't see that word used a lot online, and you don't see, or you might see it in this kind of like, I don't know. There's like a I don't know how to describe it, but there's this thing online where you kind of just people kind of wear concern like it's a Gucci jacket. Like they put on, it's like, I want to look like I'm concerned about something. I want to adorn myself with concern temporarily.
I think it's called like virtue signaling.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I understand that it is virtuous to be emotionally involved in this issue, and so according to my morality, if I am invested in this thing, which makes me look like a good person, I would react in this way. And it's so far away from an individuated response that it's disgusting. You know what I mean? So I totally know what you're talking about. It's like the cause may be just, but their affiliation with it is far from complete understanding, and it's more of like a reward mechanism.
Yeah, and it's almost like purchasing. I don't know. It's very, God, it's strange, but like the
Hey, I'm getting a call from my mom here. Quick, can I answer this?
Yeah, hit me. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, one sec.
No problem. S.Al is currently speaking to his mother. I don't know if I'm going to keep this in the audio. I might. How you guys feeling out there? S.Al's getting a call from his mother, so I'm going to take this moment, I guess, to talk to you. Talk to you about how you're feeling. How's your life going? Are you enjoying it? I think this whole conversation has been like the 1 minute meditation in DSE, but like for 30 minutes. That's what it's felt like talking to S.Al so far. I feel very calm, placid. Placid, that's a word you don't hear much anymore. Placid. Not to be confused with flaccid or acid.
I'm back. Okay.
Yo.
Can't let those slide, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you. Damn. Okay, I know how to resume. I know. Gratitude, though, is something that I don't see. I don't even know really how to execute that on the internet, but it's something emotionally deep and rich like that seems to be. I consider. Okay, but I'm gonna go there with you.
Well, maybe like the depth of gratitude isn't always communicated well on the internet because it's a lot of surface level exchanges.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, like, I consider gratitude an analog emotion, and
yeah,
do you know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know what. I think a digital emotion. I think something like a digital emotion.
I mean, emojis, man, and like all of the emotion that they're effective. I use them to communicate things.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? They're effective, but they are digital communication. It's like it is a shortcut because I know I could pull up my phone and I could like FaceTime with the person, or I could send them like a winky face and a kissy face, and whatever. It's like they get like a positive idea of me making the same face or something.
Do you ever hear things in your head when you see an emoji? Because you know the emotion, and it's a consistent thing that you, because I mean, if I'm saying words to you and you're hearing them pretty similarly to how other people would hear them, and getting like a general meaning. Obviously, like we can't communicate 100%, but like when you see an emoji, there are no words attached to it. Do you know what I'm saying? It's
right.
like, so what are you receiving really besides just the visual?
You're making an assumption basically. If you don't,
I assume.
Yeah, you're making an assumption because like the usage of language and of symbols is, you know, it's duplicitous, it's multifaceted. One thing can mean its opposite. One thing can mean something else within a group of friends, you know? Like, so you look at how somebody uses an emoji and you're gravitating towards the commonly accepted use of the thing. And so you just have to defer to that for most part. Or like the context of the conversation. Like somebody uses a vomiting emoji when they're talking about something, you might know that they're not actually sick, but they're like grossed out or something, you know?
Right. And you wouldn't use an emoji where it's like, I might die tomorrow, even though that would be kind of funny if someone really was like that. I mean, just I might die tomorrow, skull face emoji. I think.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
it's like,
man,
okay,
right.
Wild. They're going to do something difficult, and like that's the joke. Is like, okay, I get it. It's going to be really hard. You might not make it out alive. It's so hard. I get it.
I really like using. I use the skull and demon emoji. Pretty much, I use them every day for reasons that I can't really. It's like I like the idea of making my own language out of them. So I use like skull, demon, alien. Yeah.
Dude, the demon, the devil face emoji, that one is that mischievous little bastard is amazing.
No, I like the red one, the red demon face. He's like a Japanese tengu, the one thing with the long nose.
Oh, word. Okay, yeah. I like the little purple with the horns.
That's one of the horny emojis, man. That's from the sex emoji.
Oh, that means horny?
I mean,
I
word. Think it might. Someone could misinterpret that you said it to them, and then they're like, "You fucking pervert!" You're like, wait, no, I didn't mean it.
See, yeah, because I don't use it to mean horny. I just use it to mean like.
Yeah, I know you do. Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking it's probably like some emojiologist out there who's like, actually, 12% of users. Now, Sal.
Well, see. Well, now I know. Oh, what's up?
Little man, you've had a busy day, right?
Yeah, busy, long ass day.
Cool fucking album, right? Of course.
Thanks, man.
But if it were an emoji, if you condense the whole thing into an emoji, what emoji would it be? It could be a string of them. I'll challenge you to, string. You know.
Probably like is there an emoji for wheat? Like a chaff of wheat?
I think so.
Yes.
The wheat
it would be
emoji.
that. It would be wheat, like a grain, like a piece of wheat kind of like blowing in the wind. That'd be it.
Huh.
You know, kind of like a pale gold plant, you know, blowing in the wind. Yeah.
In 5 Ideas, Idea 2, I'm repulsed and drawn to the static and the buffering sounds. And I wanted to know, did you feel repulsed by them at any point, or was it just like we're like more, like how?
You got to remind me. Which 5 Ideas, Idea 2? What am I saying in that one? I forget about.
I can play it for you. Hang on, I can play it for myself anyway. We'll edit this out in post, but 5 Ideas, Idea 2. Let me get to that.
I forgot which idea was which.
At the Agador.
Before it came.
Oh. The Cave of Bees. I parsed through lightly unencumbered stony. So it's like the lead up to. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So do you remember that static?
Oh yeah, like the repeating, like the. Yes. That's the Cave of Bees, dude.
What?
That's the thrumming. Like, that's how I interpreted it. Like, I heard that noise and I paired it with that lyric because that's how I interpreted the sound. It was like this annoying but alive, thrumming, like like a cave of bees, like. And it's like, well, shit, like, and then you walk into it.
Huh. Man, that's beautiful. I'm playing it right now.
The agate door. Before a cave of bees. I parse through. Lightly unencumbered stony.
Okay, the Cave of Bees. So I said that like Chris Hansen. You're at the Cave of Bees, S.Al. And all right, go ahead.
No, it's just you know, let that image conjure whatever it is you see. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, you don't want to, maybe you don't want to go into the Cave of Bees because it's thousands of bees and you're worried about getting stung. But maybe they don't sting you, and maybe on the other side is something very awesome. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And so many things in life are just like that, where it's like, oh my God, it's like how we started this conversation about like framing, like the mind, like framing in states of mind, or it's like, holy shit, this is a really scary cave, or, well, shit, I mean, let's see what's going on. I mean, it's a, you know, I'm using language, so I haven't actually gone inside a cave of bees before, but.
Yes, I'm sure there's some guys like, yes, Al, I got stung, man. Yeah,
but so, dude, like, freshly out from the cave of bees, bro. I'm in the hospital.
Like full body cast.
Right.
Dude, no, that's beautiful though. I like it.
It's like a beautiful and terrifying image, right?
Yeah, especially if it was like, you know, you could walk in there. It's like an opening that's like, it's open enough for you to walk in.
Right. Yeah. Just use your imagination. Yeah.
Oh,
it's an interesting image.
Yeah, that album, I've listened to it a couple of times, and there were a lot of moments where it's like I'm like, huh? And it's like, it sounds good, but I don't know why I think it sounds good. To me, I think I think it's taking me a lot of time to sit with these things, and I sense these like dense poetry in you, this poetic power, where I think I mean, have you read like Ansel Adams stuff?
I don't think I have read a lot of. You said Angela Adams?
Ansel Adams. He was a photographer, but he was also a poet.
Oh, Ansel Adams.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Dang, I'm familiar with his photography work.
You haven't read his poems? All right.
I haven't read his poems.
I'm going to read one right fucking now. I'm going to do it.
Oh, please do. Please do.
I'm not an expert in him, but I feel like you all have a similar fighting style somehow. Similar hook. Ansel Adams poem. All right, I'm going to do that. I'm going to find one on poemhunter.com. Doesn't that sound like a alternate reality porn site? Poem hunters. Find the hottest poems. All right, let's see.
Yeah.
Dude, I think I got the wrong guy. Let me find the fucking dude's name. Hang on. fucking god, what is this dude's name? Oh
It's not Ansel Adams.
no, I'm.
That would have been so cool, bro. Like, I was really
know.
thinking about it. I was like, damn, this dude who was a photographer who was also a great poet. Like,
I think you
that's
should. I think
cool.
you should write his poetry. I think that would be cool for you to write it.
I should write it. Okay.
The crowds are still banging on the Sal, write the Ansel Adams poetry that would have existed in an alternate dimension. Sal, they're just chanting that over and over again. But okay, so this non-existent poetry. No, I have seen the poetry. Don't remember who did it, but I sense a lot of that in your work. And there was a particular track I was looking at. I'm so fucking bad at my job. Where the hell was the damn sheet I had?
Dude, no. This is going great so far, man.
Oh, thank you.
There's no rules to this shit.
Yo, that's a glimpse into my insanity, is like this trying to strike this balance in between I have my shit together and there's a list of questions, and me being like, I want to talk about fish for 30 minutes, like literally eating fish for 30 minutes, and that's all. See, that's like my balancing thing, what I have to struggle with.
Fish are good.
Home Alone, that's one of the tracks. It took me a couple times, and then I was like, dancing to it, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful, man. I dig it. I like that a lot of these grew on me slowly, because I think, I don't know, I think I had to work for it a little bit.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's music is, especially how my friends and I make music. It's deeply personal, and a lot of it is poetry, and it makes sense to us, and we're frequently inspired by things that we do not understand or do not completely understand, and that's just called mystery. And we're inspired by the mystery of things, and the idea that you would have to work, like what we talked about, it's all blending in, like convenience and the prioritization of convenience. And if it's not easily accessible or it's not easy to understand, then it's like, maybe it's not worth my time because time is money and I want to get paid, and I don't want to not get paid to understand your rap song. It's just like, well, whatever. You know what I mean? Nobody's bothered by it, like, but that's just how it goes sometimes. Rap is very personal.
What are you, like, abstractly inspired by lately? Like, what is a concept an abstract, non-tangible concept, an intangible concept that has been inspiring you lately?
I just got I ordered off Amazon this book called The Encyclopedia of like Magic and Alchemy. I always really like fantasy stuff, and this encyclopedia it's an encyclopedia, so it's going alphabetically through like terms, names, so like people of note in magical and alchemical history, and I'm still like only on page 3 or whatever, because I was reading one passage, and it was talking about like Lao Tzu and the Tao Te Ching, and there's this phrase that came up and it said something about the sublimation of male energy, and I was like, what does that mean? Sublimation of male energy. So I Googled sublimation of male energy, and then it just started. Then there was just all these articles about like male ejaculation and like and not, and like restricting that and like not doing that, and how it can lead to exhaustion or whatever and all this other shit. So that's how I got there, because I didn't understand what the phrase sublimation of male energy meant.
Well, are you familiar with like the NoFap community?
I've heard of No Nut November.
Okay, well, this is like that, except their whole lives, like they dedicate to indefinite times of no orgasm. And like these guys they range from very sane to like people being like, I got Super Saiyan abilities. I haven't orgasmed in 20 years, and dude, I can see different colors, man. Like, there's like all kinds of range of individuals. But I do wonder sometimes if there are energies that we're not in control of that we're sort of releasing. Even, I mean, on like an emotional spectrum of like, okay, using gratitude to charge up some kind of weird energy that you don't even know, and then being passionate maybe is expending that energy. I don't know, but I think there's a lot of this stuff going on that that we're powers that we're wielding and sort of discharging and storing, and that we don't really understand. So back to the internet shit, you know?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And like that's where my interest in like the alchemy stuff and lies in, because that's about it's about energy, and it's about where energy is stored in the body, in the organs, and like fucking how that energy can leak out of you, things that you can do to heal yourself with your own energy, things that you can do to build up your energy or prevent your energy from being depleted by yourself or by various external forces, yada yada.
Something I highly recommend for you is visualization of spiritual protectors or friendly creatures and familiars. Like, you might know, like Patronus, like the concept of Patroni from Harry Potter, that kind of thing. I've been doing that lately, and it's really, really helpful.
Hell yeah. This is fun.
Yeah.
It's just like when you were young and used your imagination, and then at some
Right.
point, you know,
Right.
we stop doing that, and then we start again, and that's all there is to it.
You're right, and I think that's one of the many gifts that artists have, but I think it's like a gift and kind of a duty to, I think, rekindle that thing of mystery and awe and being excited about stuff. Because I think, I mean, that's the thing you can't fake. Like, you show a kid for the first time like a Basquiat painting, and they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Like that kind of thing.
Right.
And you rarely get to do that as an adult, or it's sort of, it looks weird to see an adult go what, like that same that same sound like a kid makes.
I know, and it's like, why is that? And why is that?
Because you got to be like, well, I really liked the movie, but you know,
right,
it had
and that's
these
according
flaws.
to what standard? You know, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tied. It's all there. These reactions are all, you know, people play characters, and people do things that they think that they just label themselves. I'm a nice guy. I'm a smart nice guy. And then they just keep filling it in, and then they just act in. They're role playing their lives. You know, they're role playing their lives. They're not making active decisions. They're making reactions to the character archetypes that they have ascribed to themselves. That's called being an NPC, as we say.
Welcome to my
You're not
shop.
a player. You're not a player character. You're an NPC, and you're behaving as an NPC would.
Damn. So how does one break out of it? I mean, on this show we talk a lot about creative people like yourself. We like to talk about how to break out of patterns. How do you break out of being an NPC if you think you might be one and are not consensually an NPC? How do you engage more? I think that's my question for you, Sal. That's what we're gonna wrap up with, that topic.
Well, it's easy. You have to. Okay. You have to look at your pain as something other than pain. You have to look at your pain. You have to be grateful for your pain.
Wow.
You have to have gratitude for your pain, because, get this, it's like, if we were robots, we would not experience pain. We would have a heads-up display that flashes red and it says like left ventricle hurting, left ventricle needs repair.
Right.
But because we are humans, pain is a very important signifier. Pain doesn't mean that, you know, something is necessarily wrong yet, but it's like, this needs attention. Like, if I pull a muscle in my leg, it is painful. And that means, like, I can still walk, I can still run, I can still do everything I want to do.
Yeah.
But it's saying, my body's telling me, pay attention to this part because it needs attention. It needs to be looked at. And in your life, look at the pain points, as they say in like commerce or in business. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, we're diagnosing the pain points here. Look at the pain points in your life and ask yourself, like, why am I here in this position? Like, can I remove myself from this position? Can I put, boundaries up? And you just have, like, or like, should I go somewhere else? Blah, blah, blah. Like, be great, like, investigate that, like, investigate that. And then find what feels good.
So if things keep not feeling good, you might be stuck in a pattern, is what I'm gathering from you. Like, seek patterns of pain.
Well, no, seek to assess any patterns of pain that you're currently in.
Okay.
Right. You take stock of your environment, what's around you. It's like, oh, how am I feeling? It's like, well, I wish that blah blah blah. And then it's like, oh, well, look at that, and and don't make excuses, but try to resolve it. I don't know. Sometimes people will just say, they'll be in a situation that's causing them pain, and they'll be like, well, but you know how it is. It's like everybody's got to work to pay the bills, and it's like, yeah, sure, but you should also, if you're not happy, it will kill you. Like, if this is what you're doing and, like, it's not making you happy, like, it'll kill you.
And the scary thing to think about is what causes you to keep going back to that thing. I mean, like, what's so scary on the other side? Like, what? Because it's like you're standing.
Well, right,
if you're supposed to go through the cave of bees or whatever, if you're supposed to go through that thing and sort of try to step on the other side of what's scary, it's like there's also that other force that's like you might have become comfortable with your pain in a bad way,
Right, and that's what you talked about with how people behave on the internet and they wear fake concern.
Yeah.
Check it out. That's connected. People will pretend that they are in pain over an issue until they have become the facsimile. They've pretended that they're in pain enough to where, oh shit, they've tipped over the edge. They're actually in pain now. And now they actually don't understand why. And it's like, well, because you were buying into, like, a brand of like you were buying into an idea that you didn't understand. Like, and there's the danger in that. It's like if you keep masquerading in this pain, like, you will inherit the pain. It's not like, shit is not all fun and games in that respect, because people develop habits, and, like, if you emotionally train yourself to react in a way over and over and over and over again, then your body will just gravitate to that. That's what it'll do. It's used to it. It will start to auto-react in that way. And that happens to a lot of people. By the time that you're age 20, you have probably inherited, socially or otherwise, certain reactionary methods. Basically, everybody has to investigate their traumas.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been traumatized by something, and they have developed defense mechanisms that are maybe also traumatic, but they did so in order as a coping mechanism or to survive. And it's like, okay, so you have to diagnose your trauma, you have to diagnose the ways that you responded to the trauma, and you have to make it all click again. And you have to forgive yourself, and you have to just, like, make it make sense in your head. And that's what meditation's about. Well, meditation's kind of about, like, getting out of your head, but sometimes you have to resolve things mentally or become detached from them so that they're not, like, affecting you that way.
I'm a big therapy guy, and one of the therapy things is it is kind of like taking your brain and then, I mean, maybe that's not it. It's the mirror. It's a mirror, and being like, oh, you didn't see that you had like this red spot under your neck that's like oozing this blue fluid, and you had no idea. And you're like, wow, okay, that's been there this whole time. You're like, yeah, okay, now let's make a plan to sort of, you know, assess it, you know, like, and someone else can help you, so a professional can help you do that. That's been one of the biggest advantages for me with therapy, is having that outside source who I don't feel obligated to be. I mean, of course I'm nice to them, you know, but like I don't feel obligated to play any.
No, but they're just there to spot patterns, and
Yeah.
People cannot. Check it out. The reason why people can't spot patterns is because of the ego. The ego will say something like, "I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem," and and the third party is just here to be like, "You're right. You don't have a problem, but you tend to do this, and you tend to do this." So it's like, judge yourself by the fruits of your own mind. You know what I mean? It's like, sure you're not depressed, but you don't leave the house and you have insomnia. So it's like, sure, you're not depressed, but don't you want to handle the fact that you never leave the house and have insomnia? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Damn. This is something that's very important to me, and I think anyone who's listening to this, I really hope that they get something out of this, because I have. Every time I talk about something like this with someone, especially creative people, I think it's good. And I would like to see more conversations like this online and in life, specifically in the creative realm, because I think that there's I think that we all have a lot of work to do on ourselves in terms of the emotional I want to use the word spiritual, but I don't even know what that fucking means. But whatever that thing is, it's not your mind or your body. It's that other thing.
Metaphysical.
Sure.
You know, like beyond the body.
Yes.
It's just, you know, beyond the physical.
Yeah, and I would just love to see more conversations like this, because I mean, you will see millions of questions online about like, oh, how do you make beats, or how do I rap better? How do I get put on? How do I draw better? What pencil should I use? Less questions about like, okay, I keep getting in and out of toxic relationships. How could this be affecting my art? Because I guarantee you it is. You know what I mean? Guaranteed. It's all tied together, you know, and it's
right.
It's more important than what equipment we use to make things physically.
No, and you know, there is no right answer. There is no right way to make a beat. There's no right way to get on. But it's like, you just have to go back. You have to ask why you want to do the thing. It's like, why do you want to make a beat? You want to make a beat to play a show? Do you want to make a beat to play it to a person? Do you want to make a beat to rap on it, to express yourself? Like, and then there are a million ways to accomplish a goal. And it's like, so, you know, like there's no right way. It's just easy to, people ask questions like that because it makes, like, I don't know, sometimes it feels good to be asked for advice, because you're like, oh, this person's asking me for advice. You know, maybe I'm meaningful in their life. Maybe they think I'm knowledgeable. Maybe they think I know about the subject. I could impart something to them. That makes you feel, that makes the ego feel good, you know, or makes you feel good. But yeah, it's a hard line, because you don't want to just tell somebody like your formula, like you can, but it won't work for them necessarily. You know what I mean?
But that's the crazy thing, is like, I've said this so many times on videos and stuff, where it's like, I'll tell them, yeah, this is how I do it, but I mean, ultimately you will find your own way. If it's meant to happen, you're gonna have a path where it's like you can't even. But I do think there's this core element, and I think it exists in the metaphysical stuff. I think there's a core element that exists, I think, throughout all creative endeavors, which it really is that, like, pure you have a lot of it when you're a kid, that pure desire to make and just give to something outside of your own will, seemingly. It's like you just give, like, you, for instance, like you go to see a movie and you're so moved by it that you're like, I want to contribute to this medium. I have to try to emulate and capture my life and sort of give back almost. That's how I see it. But yeah,
I'd like to tell you, I had a conversation with my dad recently, and my dad is he's an art and photography teacher in high school, and we had a conversation. It was a good one, and he said something to the effect of this, where he's like, "Well, the real art is happening when I'm doing it, when I'm painting, and you know what I end up with at the end is residue, nothing more. You know, it's just residue. And the art is what is happening when I am enjoying myself while doing it. And so everything else, you know, it doesn't really matter. You know, like it's a product at that point. It's residue, it's product, it's what's left over from your creative fun and joy and stuff. Like, that's the essence of it, you know. The essence of creation is the creating.
And that thing, it can't really be commodified, which is why it's hard to talk about these things. You know, it's hard to talk about things that you can't buy or sell sometimes, but like I mean,
but it's like it's getting like the world is so peculiar, because I mean, you could watch we watch the creating of things now, you know what I mean? We watch people,
you're right.
like how-tos, and I don't know, like we've watched Bob Ross paint a million pictures, you know, and it's like, it almost feels like you're painting too or something. You're like, oh, I could do that, and that's that feeling of like, oh, I feel like I did that almost, you know. But
is that I think we could almost link that to buying the steak from Amazon. You know what I mean? Because it tastes
exactly.
It tastes good.
So they've commodified the creating process. And sometimes, I mean, you can choose. You can elect to consume that.
I think.
Which
each
I
person,
I do occasionally.
I do too. And I have a lot to say about this, obviously, because like I'm in it. I'm in this shit right now. I'm making it. But I think there's a way to do that and interact with it in a pure, honest way that is going to hopefully enrich people and cause them to make stuff. That's the ideal goal. Is that maybe there are a couple people, we all know it's not 100%. It's probably not even 50, but there's a percentage of people. Well, no, I mean,
you don't need to talk like that, you know, and that's part of it too. Is like, you do it for whyever you want to do it, and like do it to the best of your ability. If you want to continue to inspire kids to create, then really think about how meaningful ways to inspire kids, like going into your community, going into schools where there are kids for sure that you're going to see and interact with. Like, the internet is in part a guessing game. You can't totally control the interactions that are going, or like the people that engage with you. But in real world, you can choose who to engage with. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, I haven't really thought about it that way.
Yeah, because it sounds like for you, like you said, engagement and inspiration is very important. And
yes,
it's like,
yes.
And we've also talked about how the internet can be superficial and like virtual and like very not real in some sense. So, you know, so you have to think about the ways that you want to meaningfully accomplish your goals. And is it all the way through the internet? Is it half internet, half in real life, or like 80% internet, 20% real life, 20% or 80% real life, 20% internet?
Yeah.
You know, and it's a fluctuating, the shit is in constant flux, you know what I mean? It's not, you decide. You're always making the rules. but it should be based upon how you're feeling. If you're overwhelmed from real world stuff, then spend more time online. If you're overwhelmed with online, spend more time in the real world.
I would imagine that in a couple decades, maybe I think it's already happening, but it will be a hybrid where it's like your existence outside is drenched in internet somehow to different degrees. It's like having a film over your eyelids. I'm sorry, having a little like digital film over your iris where you have like it's turning.
You can see augmented reality and shit like that, right?
So before we get there, I mean, you did touch on a point. I would like to do local outreach stuff. It's something that's been on my mind, and I just have to get down and start researching it. Yeah. But dude,
man.
This has been a pleasure though talking to you.
Dude, yeah. I mean, you're fucking awesome, dude.
Oh, thanks, thanks. I mean, like this has been great, and we're in the. This is not a library, but where there is a library in the room. You remember the room, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. I feel like at some point I started standing up and walking around the room while I was talking. I definitely wasn't sitting down the whole time. I got amped up.
I think I've been like a disembodied head, just like floating and following you the whole time. Like, yep, let's go, Sal. The people just banging on the outside. Sal, just ready to. You play Smash Brothers, right?
Yeah, I do.
You know how when you're like beating a lot of ass, like people start chanting your name.
Yeah, they start chanting. That's exactly what I started thinking of when you first said it.
Oh, really? Like, okay.
Yes, I know it. Yes, I made the connection.
You know, someone at
Link.
At some point, they should get into like, who the fuck is this crowd? Who's watching? Where are these sounds?
I know they
from?
should pan. They should pan. They should pan and show the crowd.
I would love. Maybe it'll happen at some point. But Sal, please tell people where they can find you.
Oh, they can find me on rubyyacht.com or safarial.bandcamp.com. That's SAFARIAL.bandcamp.com. Those are their best bets.
Anything you want to plug that's coming up?
I'm working on a new album for S.Al, and it's called Blue Mage.
Whoa! God damn. I'm clutching my chest, Sal. Beautiful, beautiful name. The Blue Mage.
Yes.
When's it coming out?
So I've got all the instrumental sequence, and it's the first time that I'm doing an album in this way, where I sequenced all the instrumentals, and it's 42 minutes long, and now I've just been listening to it constantly in my car, and I'm just filling in pieces as time goes on. I'm not really rushing with it. I'm kind of letting it come together. But I think I've got, like 1, 2, 3, 4 songs out of maybe 16 done. So I'm not really sure. Could come together pretty fast. Might be a couple more months, but definitely within 6 months. Definitely within the year.
Awesome, Sal. Please let us know when that's done. Keep us updated on that.
Oh, of course.
All right, thank you, man.
Hey, it's been a pleasure. Pleasure.
Got a question from downhill media earlier that I will chat about right now. Because this is something that's very near and dear to me. It's something I think about all the time, which is how to balance art and a day job. I have a day job right now, IT related, has nothing to do with creativity. There's zero art or creativity involved in it. For you all who think I do this full time, I don't. I do in my head. I think I'm always thinking about this shit. But we had a question about how I balance these things because I do something every day there's always something going on. I complete tasks every day. I'm not perfect by any means, but I have a lot of steam to contribute to this stuff. And the question specifically was like, how do I balance? Or how do I try to balance it?
Like just what works. I know everyone has like different methods and different routines that they follow. Some people like will kind of schedule everything out for themselves. Like what do you find is best for you?
What's been best for me lately is I think I've always had this thing. I've always had this energy inside of me, even when I started DSC like 5 years ago, where I would come home and I just knew that I had to contribute to this thing. Oftentimes I'd be mad that I was even at a day job, and like that would be steam for me. Like that would be enough for me to go on. Now it's a little different. I think I'm still mad. I still like having something to push against, but when I don't have this day job, I'm still going to need something to fight against. And that's the thing that when I was freelancing for a year and a half, that was one of the things I failed miserably on, is I had this feeling of like, I'm going to be comfortable now. Back to the earlier points, like, I'm going to be comfortable. And it just ruined me. Like I was still able to create stuff, but it was nowhere near the level I thought it was going to be. I had this idea that like, oh yeah, if I don't have this day job, that means I have 8 more hours to produce. And it's like, we're not machines.
Mm-hmm.
And creativity is not it's not a machine. I know it sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but it's like, I think I should have done a better job of balance back then. I'm doing it better now. But to answer your question more directly, I'm good with lists. I really like having lists. I have one right now, and I basically prioritize things. I have a list of maybe like 15 different things I got to get done at any given time, and I keep changing the top post. Like I had to re-examine it all the time. I try to re-examine it like 3 times a day instead of just doing whatever's on the top. I look at it on my list and I'm like, what is the most important thing? Even if I don't want to do it, what will make the biggest change? And then I got to put that thing on the top and I got to attack it immediately. Because one of my tendencies is, it's a very bad tendency, is I tend to go for low-hanging fruit and stuff that's very comfortable or easy for me to do. For instance, idea generation, conceptualizing stuff, writing or drawing stories, because that stuff comes very easy to me, and it's not the hard part. The hard part is production and planning stuff out and being like, well, when is this going to happen? What is the structure? But that shit matters so much, but like I never want to do it because it's uncomfortable for me.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I'll just drag that thing to the top to be like, okay, I know you want to draw right now, but this thing needs to get done. That's helped me. From like I think there's like that's a technical answer to the question, and then there's like the spiritual answer. There's the answer that's like, I know that I'm serving something that's bigger than me, and this whole thing connecting with you guys is like, that's the thing that I want to contribute to, and that's what's important to me. So I'm like, the more I work, even if I have a day job, it's really important to me. And this is kind of why I don't really watch a lot of TV or play video games and stuff now, because it's just like, I care more to, actually it feels better for me. Like work often feels more fulfilling and even more entertaining and fun than me watching things. I don't know. I wish I had more time to consume stuff, but it's like, I mean, it's fun for me. It's entertaining. I just love it. I get a lot of energy out of it.
I know something you've talked about in the past is like exercise and stuff. Do you think that helps too?
Massive. It is massive. I think people should be working out 30 minutes a day, especially creative people, because like we're lazy and fucking like physically. I think physically creative people tend to fall into this category of like, my body is just the vessel. It's just the meat vehicle for the brain.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, well, it's like, you need to have the stronger your body is, it's all connected.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I learned is like, this is gonna be a little high concept, but one thing I've been learning from my main thing is like cardio and weightlifting, and embedded in every exercise are mini lessons for yourself. Like, I hate running 6 miles.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it. But I also hate having to sit down for an hour and plan the production of a cartoon. I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
I hate both things, but I do them. And that sentence, but I do it anyway, is like, it goes through, it's a muscle, and it exists throughout each thing you do. It's like, you're training yourself to be uncomfortable, to do shit you don't want to do. And the easiest way to train the muscle of, I don't want to do this, but I'm doing it anyway, is to go outside and be like, I'm going to run fucking 10 miles. And I don't care what my body says, because it's going to, for me, it's bled over into my creative projects where it's like, there's so many times I don't want to do shit. I just want to lay on a couch and just do nothing, but it's like, it's almost like my brain knows that I'm still on the treadmill. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
you think you got off the treadmill, but you're always on the treadmill. There's always a place to run, even if it's mental. It's like, you're always, and weightlifting for me has been more representative of like, it's how strong it's like, how much are you going to put into the project? To me, running and cardio is more like, how long can I do it? And weightlifting for me has been like, I would link weightlifting to your ability to like put headphones in, and when someone tries to inevitably pull you away from your project or be like, hey man, you want to get something to eat? You're like, no, sorry, I got to do this thing. To me, that's a rep.
Yeah.
That's a rep. That's like it's like you got that first pump, and then you're like, okay, now I got to keep going. That's like the cardio. That's like the. Is this making sense?
Yes. No.
Okay.
I think that's like, and I think that's important, and it's also important for other, like, if you have other friends who are working on creative projects, to always respect that too, in a way. Like, if my brother,
respect theirs.
yeah. Like, if my brother works on music a lot, and there are certain days, like certain Friday nights, where I'm like, hey, let's meet up and like hang out and maybe watch a movie or something. And if he's like, oh, sorry, I'm like in the studio working with my band right now, it's like, okay, I totally respect that. I mean, that's clearly like an important thing that you need to do, and I get it. And that's not to say that we're never like because of this we're never going to spend time together, but
yeah.
it is important, I think, especially if you have other friends who are into creative projects, to respect that, and to not like just fuck with them and be like, what the fuck is wrong?
What are you doing? You're working on your music. That's like goon level, like asshole who's not creative at all. Is like, we're working. Oh, come on, man, we're fucking family. What the fuck?
Yeah, and I'm glad that I feel like I don't really have friends like that. So
that's good. Yeah,
that's good. Yeah,
what are you doing? Working on this stuff? Come on, man. We don't know.
Yeah, dude. I think I'm actually happy to say that I don't think I have any friends who would do that. So that's, yeah.
I have a few of those, but I don't really consider them friends. I consider them people I used to be cool with, and I have a lot of them who it's like they want to hang out, and I know that even if I hang out with them, it's going to be like I should have been working.
Yeah, that's a frustrating feeling.
It's like, yeah, you're not getting nourished at all from it. That's a real old man thought. Like I'm starting to realize that more. But you're so right about the company you keep, and I also interpret that as like, it's kind of like we got to keep each other in check and be honest about like, if there's something you really care about creatively that you want to get done, I think we got to like hold each other accountable to that stuff. Like, almost help each other create those spaces and those time pockets of like, okay, we can watch that movie, but like, let's just both like buckle down and like work on our own projects for an hour. Then we'll come together and do the movie thing later or something. Like,
and it's good. Yeah, it's good to find one thing that's great about being with Michelle is that she's she has pushed me to work on stuff because she's like always on. Like she's always working on a project. She's always like writing or doing something.
Yeah.
And I'll see that and I'll be like, damn, like I should be doing that right now too. And that kind of pushes me to do it.
That's a great mentality.
And it's good because like we're in like general proximity of each other like all the time. So I think that that's another good thing, and that's like helped me. I know that's not something that like everyone has with their relationships.
I'm single, all right, Ryan. I'm single. I'm lonely. I'm dumb, all right.
Like I have a coworker who was talking about like this is kind of related, but his wife like hates when he plays video games. And so we actually play I'm not gonna say who it is. She hates it. And so we have a Switch at work, and like occasionally we'll just like play whatever. And he was just like playing he was just staying late one day playing games, and we were like, why don't you can just go home and play games? Why are you like and he was just like, no dude, my wife is like would be pissed off. And we were like, dude, that's pretty sad. I don't know.
I think that's unacceptable. For me,
I hate that. That's awful.
What are you doing? Escaping into another world? Why aren't you in this world with me? Oh,
and like obviously, if the dude is playing it for like 8 hours straight or something, it's like okay. But if I'm sure he's not. I'm sure he's playing for like 30 minutes or something, and she's just like, why aren't you spending time with me?
There are other issues there. I guarantee.
I think so too.
Well, I mean, okay, we'll talk about this more later.
That's a little. Yeah, it's no. I think you're probably right, but like.
Why are you escaping to that virtual world? Because I mean, it's like the same thing with books. I mean, like you go to other worlds. That's like someone being like, "Take me with you," some shit like that.
I don't know. I mean, like, and obviously, like I play games once in a while, but I've started to prefer games that are like, that I can play in shorter bursts and like play for like 8 minutes. Like I can play a game of Smash for like 10 minutes and then just not play anymore for the day. I'll be like, oh, that was fun, and I'm done. Like I don't need to. Like it's hard for me to. I love the new Spider-Man game and all that stuff, but it's like it's so hard to engage for like the amount of time that it takes to beat a game like that.
Because it just encourages you to keep going.
Yeah, even though it's good. It's
like 60 hours.
And it's like I wish I had the time to play it because I'm sure it's amazing, and I'm gonna finish it eventually. I'm sure, but it's just one of those things.
Games are tough because they are rudimentary at this. Maybe it's not even rudimentary right now. They are complex portals into other dimensions. Let's call it what it is. Red Dead Redemption 2, I haven't picked it up because I know it would suck my soul away. Like
same, yeah.
And you feel it. You just you pick that controller up and it's like you're not you anymore. You're like at best. You're this other thing, and a lot of your brain shuts off. You end up getting pulled in, but it's like I hope that one thing I hope for myself, and I'm working on, is like we should be treating our lives like I don't know. One of the grossest things is to play a game and be like, your character's getting stronger and you're running around and putting points in their intelligence and optimizing them. And it's like, really, you just got to take a honest look at yourself in the mirror sometimes and be like, is my avatar more attractive than me? Is my avatar, do I care more about them than I do myself? You know what I mean? Like, am I investing in my own skill tree or whatever?
And I was like that because I don't know if you've ever played any MMOs, but like back in high school, I was so into World of Warcraft. Like I was.
Did you have level 80s?
Yeah. Yeah. And I used to raid every night with like the guild that I was in, and we were like obsessed with like, okay, we got to be the first guild on the server to beat this boss, and like and it was just
for what? Like,
I know, and I would literally like there were nights where I would fall asleep at my keyboard. Not even kidding. Like we'd be up until like 3 a.m. on a school night, and I would be like falling asleep with all these like grown adults who were like Ryan, wake up. And it's like, okay, this is too like. At some point, I realized, okay, I think I'm done with MMOs forever, and I'm not playing one of these ever again. And I haven't, so it's
what. How were you able to do that? A lot of people don't have that moment. They just keep going.
I honestly think college is a big part of it, and once I realized like, okay, I want to like start like making short films, making movies and stuff, and working on this other thing that I love. and also like because I don't play as much as I used to, but getting into music, I used to write music a lot, play guitar a lot more than I do now.
Okay.
And I think getting into those things and like more like sort of productive creative outlets, I think sort of helped me, and especially college, because like there was no time for it. Like I was in this like film like fraternity in college, which sounds weird, but it was co-ed, it was like men and women, and yeah, we all just encouraged each other to make stuff, and that was it.
Did you get hazed?
No, it was a no hazing fraternity.
Did you? That's not what I heard. I heard that they on the night of the hazing, they got film canisters and they would spank you guys with them, and they'd be like, "We love film. We love film. No digital."
Like our kind of like hazing, and like in our pledging process, like the closest thing to it was basically just working on like a 24-hour short film. Like, and we had to like,
good.
Isn't that cool? Like,
really
that was our version of like, you got to work hard for 24 hours and make.
And if you didn't do it, you clearly weren't.
No. And if you didn't do it, like you have to like, we stayed up like all night. We
That's
shot
great,
it, stayed up all
man.
night editing it. And then we showed it to the rest of them, like, and it's like this is actually a cool thing. But yeah, but I feel like college sort of helped pull me away from it. And it's not that I have anything against, like, because I love video games, but I just think that like obviously everything in moderation, you know.
Yeah, 'cause that shit is. I mean, it's brutal. Like I said, and it's only gonna get better. You play The Witcher. You play The Witcher, and have you played The Witcher?
The Witcher 2, I think. Wait.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Wild Hunt. It's nuts. Like Geralt's hair will grow and stuff. And it's like every stat you can change inside of them. And what I'm saying is these simulations are going to keep getting better and better.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to get worse. You know, we're not going to go back to Pong.
Yeah.
It's going to be at some point. You're going to have the chip. You're going to put it under your neck, and you're going to, all right. And then you wake up and you're fucking Link.
Yeah.
What happens then? You're going to have to make a fucking strong decision about, am I going to go into that realm? And if I do, how am I going to pull myself out of it? Because it's going to get really fucking...
And I think, like, we will be better at resisting it because we remember a time when it wasn't a thing. But, like, if you're, like, a 14, 15-year-old kid, that's going to suck you in. And, like, again... Like,
of course they would want to leave their stupid middle school bodies.
Right.
I would do that in a second.
Right. I mean, that's what I was doing. You know what I mean? Like,
You're
like,
escaping the reality.
It's like, fuck, dude, this sucks. And, like...
I'm gonna go to another world.
Like on like my Saturdays, like I literally would wake up and I would play all day. Like I'd play for like 10, 12 hours. Like that was like normal. It was ridiculous. Like it was, I don't know.
I used to, my version of that was like role playing on online forums. I was one of those people. Paragraphs. The demon priest enters the room carrying the scepter of
Dude, I used to do that. I used to do role play. Okay, so it was on.
Oh shit!
So do you know there was this game called? It was in a video game, so, to make it weirder. So it was on this video game called Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy.
Jedi Academy.
Do you remember that?
Used to RP on Jedi Academy.
Dude, I was like, people like knew who I was.
Carries
on
his
that
lightsaber.
server. Like. And I used to like do some weird, like we used to have some like ongoing story on the server, and we used to like write out like what the story is and like what happened exactly, and it was just, oh man.
Honestly, there was a long time when I was embarrassed by it, but now I'm like, that's when you learn to write. I mean, it teaches you how to write, because I mean, World of Warcraft has roleplay servers as well, where it's like, oh, you can't run, you only walk everywhere, and you like type your thing out, like, oh, how fare thee, sir.
I've seen those too.
Yeah, it's I think it's a lot more creative than regular video game playing. I'll give them that. I'm still pretty embarrassed by role playing online, but I think it was good. I'm really glad I had that. Where we are with time?
We're I actually kept it going after the DSC thing, so I feel like we're over 30 minutes though.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a cool discussion. All right, let's wrap that up. I don't want to do questions. I think that this is a really good tangent. I'm gonna wrap this up. Role playing, and How did I get there?
Oh man, I think we were talking about like exercising, and then we started talking about
Video games, like improving yourself or something.
yeah, and just kind of how. Ooh man, that was a tangent.
Or it was escaping into worlds. And
Yeah.
role playing to escape your reality, right?
Yeah. And I guess going back to how that affects like time management too.
Oh my God, time management. Time management is the killer. That's the thing that we all need to figure out, and there are different ways. And you know, you can read Entrepreneur Magazine and see here's how the top 25 performers spend their time. You can look at that shit, but the only thing that's going to matter is committing to one.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, if it doesn't work, that's great. Just do the next one. But one of those is going to work.
Yeah.
One of those is going to resonate, and it's going to be like, wow. But my challenge to you all who are struggling with time management, which I think we all are, is to like go ahead and pick up that fucking book. I don't know, go on the damn blog, like Google time management, and just try something. Try something different with time management than you did before, and let me know in the comments below how that goes. If you decide to do it, let me know in the future as well if you decide to do it. Who gives a shit? Ask@domrapper.com if you have questions for me in the future. We're done with questions today. In fact, we're done with the fucking show today. Talked a lot about time management, which is great. We got very technical in this episode. I didn't mention fictional penises once, which is pretty great. I can't promise the next episode is going to be the same way. Thank you all for watching / listening. Don't forget to rate and review us on iTunes. Tell your friends about this shit. If you have weird friends, I would love for you to introduce this show to them. That'd be pretty cool. Don't forget patreon.com/valet to support us and to help us keep making this shit, to make it bigger and better. Because someday we're going to be touring in your city, and you're going to be able to shake my hand and be like,
Hey, Dom, I was one of the guys who subscribed to Patreon on Valet.
I'll be like, get away from me. But thank you. All right, thanks, y'all.